Just as we see with the people online, I believe that people intentionally manipulated information, presented information as though it's one way to try to create division. And this is a cycle that we have seen ongoing. However, regardless of what you believe, I've always felt like if you just do a little less talking, a lot more watching and observing, these people will reveal themselves to you. So a lot of these people I care not to expose. However, I think people need to recognize some of the things that they feed into are not a good look for people who support R. Kelly.
So you helped me set it up all in my name and everything. Even when I got it, I changed all the passwords again, and I changed them every other week, all the passwords and everything, just to make it secure. So
cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
Facebook again. How the hell? That's why I turned the damn music off, motherfuckers. Shit. But made me lose my train of thought. But I just feel like people that recognize that some things are going on questionably should be taking looks at those people before they make any decisions, and stop waiting on people to publicly call people out on that note. Like, I shouldn't have to get on my channel in which I'm using it for something totally different and then start using it to call people out for specific reasons. Like, at the end of the day, we all have to make smart decisions. And if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you've been scammed, you have questionable people around you, you should make smarter decisions with what you do. And moving forward, you know, there's people that handle these type of things. If you feel like you've been scammed, you know, that's the problem I have with all these people with this surviving R. Kelly. Like, everybody want to go to the bloggers. Everybody want to go to the motherfucking media and tell their fucking story. No, motherfucker, go to the motherfucking police. If you feel like people out here scamming you, goddamn it, go to the motherfucking police. Shit, you don't need no blogger to call nobody the fuck out. Okay?
No bitch nigga, no rich nigga, no snitch nigga. I'm a real nigga, that's real nigga.
Why the fuck these niggas wanna go against the grain? Yeah. Why the fuck these niggas wanna drag a nigga name? Jury don't want me to make it. The DA, I know that he working. Oh, he working. Prosecutors wanna help me. What? I'm hoping they don't do me dirty.
I mean, financially, people supposed to be working, they weren't working, and that's like from the time he woke up to the time he went to sleep. We both had the same schedule, so, and it was very, very, very upfront and very intimate. When I say intimate, meaning that I was just probably more than just his bodyguard. I sort of became like a second personal assistant, you know, out on the road or wherever he was. I did other related duties that didn't require my security requirements of my job. I did other related duties to the job that didn't fit the description. So I was more or less just doing just like personal assistant stuff. You know, I sort of became that. He had other people around him, but you know, I was the guy right next to him. Every day, sun up to sundown.
We're talking about, but can you just kind of, in the studio, what was the vibe like? And did you see anything out of the ordinary where people were stealing from him that he really trusted? And tell me about the time in the studio.
Yeah, so time in the studio, Robert he's a very hard worker. I mean, he'll be in the studio. He just can't be in the studio at any time for up to 2 days at a time. I mean, sometimes he wouldn't even know whether it was light or dark outside. He just worked, and as long as you bought him his meals, he was fine with that, and he wasn't too cognizant of what was going on around him. And like you had guys like Daryl McDavid, who was his business manager. You had Demetrius Smith, the gentleman from the Lifetime that spoke about him. It's like people were just doing things because his attention wasn't directed in that area, and they knew that, and they took advantage of that. And I mean, financially, people were supposed to be working, they weren't working, and that's like, that's not cool because you're paying you to do a job and you're not doing your job. So it's like I sort of just stayed minding my business and did what I was supposed to do, and then it got to the point where I would be with him riding in the car, just being him, and I'm like saying to myself morally, how can I sit by and just not say nothing to him when I know he doesn't know, Right. And I was like, whatever response he give me is the response, And I just alluded to him. I think certain people around you just taking advantage of you financially, and just taking advantage of your kindness and taking advantage of you not, being too attentive to certain things. And they found that out right away, and they exploited that. And I let them know. He said, well, can you keep an eye on these things and let me know? So when he would confront certain people, they would be like, wow, how did he find that out?
By the name of Donnie, he introduced her to the girlfriend, gave LaToya $200 and told her to get her little young ass on, okay? I guess why he proceeded to put his pin in the girlfriend, because word on the street, per his old manager, the tour manager, Demetrius, is that he's nasty. He's never taken showers, and he doesn't even understand how women would even sleep with R. Kelly, because he would go for at least 2 weeks without taking a shower. He would be in the studio all night, okay? Then he would go play basketball, and then when he's done, he would go to sleep, or if he had a show, he would just get dressed for the show and wouldn't bathe for up to 2 weeks at a time. So he didn't even understand how women would lay down with him.
Now, as I told you all, I was watching the shenanigans play out on social media. So imagine my surprise when I watched Surviving R. Kelly and everything in me told me something wasn't right with these people. So when you recognize they gave a platform to people with sexual misconduct and rape allegations against them, when you realize all these witnesses have backgrounds and shady activity in their records, then you have to also recognize that the way these people maneuvered was very intentional. They decided to take it upon themselves and take the whole matter to social media, and they did not intend to get justice. It was all scandal, if you ask me. Scandal that went wrong. So the question is, who's accountable? And let's look at all the conflicts of interest that came along in between then, because we could make a whole list of all these people, even the participants in this docuseries, who have conflicts of interest. Yet a man is sitting in jail right now because these people needed the public to decide his guilt or innocence instead of letting the court do so. And it's funny that if you did them the same way with their cases, they'd have a conniption. Bullshit. I also made it very clear that a lot of the things that was going on these public platforms are not a good look, but people continue to proceed.
No, Triana, however you pronounce it. No, I didn't tag you. I tagged my decorators, but I did tell everybody I want to thank my entire team. There's too many names to name everybody, but I tag because they deserve that credit. You get credit when credit is due, and they deserve that credit.
So this was back, I believe, in 2001 as she stated. During the summer, she said that R. Kelly and Jay-Z were both working on the Best of Both Worlds album that actually dropped in 2002 of March. And I just want to let you know that her story seems to be similar to how other girls have met R. Kelly when they were allegedly underage. She claims that she was at a concert at 13 years old, at an R. Kelly concert. Back then, he talking about God knows what under the sun. She says that they met eyes, and after the concert, they exchanged numbers at an after party. And I still don't understand how she was able to get to an after party at 13 years old, okay? I have questions, and that's why I'm blasting her ass now. Hopefully, she'll come out and tell another blogger the truth, since she's been giving these long therapeutic sessions with a lot of bloggers.
He the one gave me the information on Tim. What you talking about? I betrayed Tim. And both of y'all legitly sold your daughters.
In addition to an investigation already underway following an explosive Lifetime documentary that featured multiple interviews with women who say they were sexually abused by Kelly, some when they were in their teens. CNN has viewed this tape in question, and CNN's Sarah Seidner is following this for us in Los Angeles. Also here with us is CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any more bizarre, there is word that there's a hearing coming up this Thursday for conflict of interest. And that's very interesting to me, considering across the board, I have just spotted so many things that one would think would be a conflict of interest, from the attorneys, from the witnesses, to the prosecutors, even the judge. All across the board, there's so many conflicts, and we'll run through that later on in the video. But first, I'll read to you what Greenberg had to say in regards to this hearing, because just my perception, it would appear as though Greenberg is making it seem as he's still fighting to be in the defense team or a part of the defense team or whatever the case may be. Just listen to what he said. Hopefully, this can be my last tweet on the subject. Myself and my counsel agree. If R. Kelly wants different counsel, that is up to him, and we are fine with that. But we believe in him and his case, and we want to ensure that going forward, if we are not representing him, whoever is representing him is competent. We don't want to see him bringing a squirt gun to a gunfight, so everything we are doing is in his best interest. Now, of course, there's people that have been going back and forth with Greenberg based on what he said. You can never just say what you say without people trying to challenge you, as you'll come to find. But it's kind of crazy that so many people have painted all these different narratives before Steve Greenberg spoke. When it was mentioned that he would be releasing a statement, everybody wanted to shut it down. And now you see that he's putting it out there as though maybe even if he's not part of the defense team, he wants to ensure there's no corruption with the defense team. Because as I have pointed out to you all from beginning to end, as we see with these people, when you don't comply with things they want or do things the way they want you to do them, then the next thing they'll start to move from person to person or platform to platform, trying to discredit each person. They did the same thing with these attorneys, from Doug Anton to Steve Greenberg. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope they don't go after the rest of the attorneys on the defense team as supporters.
Brad, R. Kelly's attorney is claiming that Michael Avenatti pressured Fox to file charges in this case. He's citing Avenatti's comments about R. Kelly that were allegedly recorded by the FBI.
In January, Chicago's top prosecutor Kim Fox made a public call for R. Kelly accusers to contact her office.
Please come forward.
A month later, Michael Avenatti came forward saying that he was turning over a new tape allegedly showing Kelly sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl. In light of Avenatti's indictment and Fox's controversial connection to the Jussie Smollett case, R. Kelly attorney Steve Greenberg says the relationship between Fox and Avenatti needs to be more closely examined.
They got in bed with Avenatti, and Avenatti is toxic. Everything he touches seems to blow up, and that's what's going to happen here.
Greenberg cited Avenatti's recent federal indictment for allegedly attempting to extort millions from footwear and apparel giant Nike. Charging documents in the case say that the FBI recorded Avenatti talking about the case against R. Kelly, saying that 10% of it is actually going to be true. Greenberg said Avenatti's involvement has polluted the case against Kelly. Avenatti responded on Twitter today, saying in part, "The only thing that has polluted the R. Kelly case is Steve Greenberg and R. Kelly's never-ending expletive." Today, a Cook County judge did not rule on a motion to preserve communications to and from Avenatti to the state's attorney's office, witnesses, and their attorneys.
Especially where someone can just hit a button and delete it.
Because he wanted to review it. But the state's attorney's office says they already comply with requirements to preserve those records. Former federal and state prosecutor Stephen Block said that because Avenatti handed the alleged sex tape over to prosecutors, he could be considered a potential witness. If messages between Avenatti and Fox actually exist, Greenberg and the rest of Kelly's defense team should be able to get their hands on them.
As a defense attorney, it doesn't surprise me that he would go belt and suspenders, that he would file a motion to get before the judge, even if he knows that the state's aware of its obligations to preserve these materials and produce them.
And the state's attorney's office told me they had no comment because this matter involves pending litigation.
Now, as I previously mentioned, there's so many things that could be pointed out that could steer in the direction of a conflict of interest on most of these people who have participated in this R. Kelly hate train. But people will overlook these things just because they have fed into the narratives that this man is such a monster and doesn't deserve the rights that everyone else has been afforded. So with that being said, let's just slide by a few things that stood out to me the most. Now, I could go on all day about so many things that should raise the red flag as to conflicts of interest, but we'll just keep it simple in this video, and feel free to jump in the comments and we'll discuss so much more. Now, I want y'all to just stay in tune with this timeline of events and what we all witnessed play out from September 2019 on till now. Now, of course, we all know what was going on with everybody in the interviews and whatnot. And I already told you that I feel like a lot of the things brought out during those interviews were detrimental to R. Kelly's case. And that's why specific individuals decided not to do any more interviews. But the fact that other people kept spreading their name in all these bullshit ass narratives just again let me know where a lot of these people were going. They want to sit here and run with the negative narratives that would make R. Kelly look guilty, but then come out and say they support this man. And as a whole, if we don't start checking this type of stupid ass shit, we can't be mad or offended when people talk to us like we dumb or retarded when people on my channel, we recognize the injustice going on. Regardless of whether people do believe R. Kelly is guilty or innocent, it doesn't change the way these people have maneuvered the laws and everything to entrap this man in this case, which can be easily shut down. But the fact that all these people had to come online and keep these narratives going, shouldn't that be witness tampering in itself? They decided to take it upon themselves to skip the law process. They skipped all that and said, well, we're going to bring all this information to the public and let the public decide if this man is guilty or innocent. But then they'll turn around and make people like me or anybody else defending or trying to make sense to the false allegations. They'll say that, oh, we're witness tampering, we're doing this, we're doing that. We can't speak out against the false narratives. However, all these people can plant these false narratives, make it make sense. At the end of the day, I've told you all, yet I gave a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. But the fact that people want to keep playing both sides of the field, they're feeding into the narratives of people that we obviously know are fucking lying. We sit here and see all these people being discredited left and right, and we're still giving credit to these bullshit ass stories, instead of talking about these conflicts of interest.
If it don't seem, I ain't right back. I don't trust nobody. I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Fuck it, I'm crossing the line today.